I want to share an enlightening story from Anthony DeMello. Once upon a time, a man found an eagle's eggs and he put it in the nest of a backyard hen. The eaglet hatched with the brood of chicks and grew up with him. All of his life, the eagle did what the backyard chickens did, thinking he was a backyard chicken. He scratched the earth for worms and insects. He clucked and he cackled, and he would thrash his wings and fly a few feet into the air. Years passed, and the eagle grew very, very old. One day, he was looking up and he saw a magnificent bird far above him in the cloudless sky, and it glided with graceful majesty among the powerful wind currents, with even scarcely a beat of its strong golden wings. The old eagle looked up in awe and asked, "Who is that?" His neighbor chicken said to him, "Oh, that's the eagle. That's the king of all the birds. He belongs to the sky. But for us, we are chickens and we belong to the earth." So that eagle lived and died as a chicken because that's exactly what he thought he was. Now, how does that relate to ketamine therapy? Well, sometimes you are actually an eagle, and to become aware and see yourself for who you truly are. Maybe it's that golden eagle that resides within, and you just haven't recognized it quite yet. One of the things that ketamine can do, especially when you're undergoing IV ketamine therapy, it gives you insights. And if you think about that word, insight, well, to gain the insight, one must look inside. Have you ever thought about how unlikely it is that you're even here? Well, according to one estimate, the odds of you being born are about 1 in 400 trillion. Let that sink in. That's the equivalent of 2.5 million people rolling trillion-sided dice, and every single one of them landing on the same exact number. Or, as the Buddhists describe it, it's like one turtle somewhere in all the world's oceans, randomly sticking its head through a single life preserver on the very first try. It's almost impossible. And yet, here we are. Not only alive, but seeking healing, growth, a deeper understanding of ourselves. That's the power of this work. Ketamine therapy is not about escaping life. It's about remembering what a gift it is. Yes, the pain is real. Depression, anxiety, and trauma are heavy, but so is the miracle of your existence. You are not an accident. You are the result of millions of things going exactly right over billions of years. And when you step into that ketamine space with intention, you're not just healing your mind, you're honoring the miracle that is you. So the next time you wonder if you're worthy of healing, remember, the odds of you being here were nearly impossible, and yet somehow you beat them. Let ketamine therapy be your reminder. You're always meant to be here, and you are worth the healing. Do you ever check your email inbox and see just a ton of spam and unwanted emails? It's so annoying, right? Because sometimes I'll go through my email and I'm like, when did I even sign up for this newsletter? It's really annoying. Or someone is trying to scam Bitcoin or some sort of fraud on me, and it can be very, very annoying. Sometimes I think our brain is like an email inbox where we consistently get annoying thoughts, ideas, beliefs that may not necessarily serve us. And one of the things I've realized is that we cannot control the email inbox and what comes in necessarily, and we may have a bunch of spammy thoughts, but we can choose to select which emails that we read. So this is just a reminder to not necessarily believe everything that you think, and kind of think about your brain as an email inbox. And, sometimes the best ideas don't necessarily come in, and we get to selectively filter and go through those. Now, when I think about ketamine therapy and how it relates to this, it can be like ketamine, as a metaphor, is a really good AI that screens through and helps you select which thoughts or emails that you want to promote and pop up. You know how sometimes on the email app you can decide, hey, this is important, from this email. Let me make sure that these are prioritized. And ketamine, in a way, seems to help us filter some of these negative thoughts that may come up and that may not serve us. So, bottom line, select which emails or thoughts that you want to focus on. Realize that you can't control those thoughts or emails, but really be conscious about choosing the right thoughts that come in and focusing on those thoughts that you want, and just delete all of that extra junk as best as you can. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. I was making Legos with my daughter a couple of weeks ago, and she wanted this baby ankylosaurus dinosaur. And it was a pretty cool Lego set because the tail would move and the head would move. And when we got it, I looked at the box, and apparently it had like 570 pieces in this Lego. So I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to take a long time. But we worked on it for hours, and we're making and building this Lego, and even my fingers got sore. A few weeks after that, we got another Lego set, and this Lego set was only 100 pieces. And when my daughter and I were working on that, it was so much easier. I was like, OMG, we are doing this so rapidly. And literally just putting it together, it took, I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And I was thinking a lot about how this applies to life. And specifically, when we do hard things, later, if another challenge comes up, we discover that those smaller challenges are actually easier. Very similar to initially doing that, 500, 600 piece Lego versus doing a 100 piece Lego. And this goes to the idea of the comfort zone. When I'm in my comfort zone, and then I step outside of my comfort zone, it's literally uncomfortable. That's the definition of being outside of our comfort zone. Now, what's really cool about this is that the more challenges I face, the more I grow. My comfort zone actually expands each and every time. So how does this relate to ketamine therapy? Well, sometimes during ketamine therapy, it can be hard. And you might see things or feel things, or it might be really uncomfortable. But what's really powerful about that is once you overcome them, then everything just seems a little bit easier, a little bit smoother. So I hope you gain a little bit of an insight from this, and I will see you in the next video. During this time of closure at our clinic, I've been doing a lot of email communication and telephone calls. And sometimes I'll send an email or write a letter, and I'll second guess myself. And I'm thinking, oh, I should have done it this way, or I should have done it this way, or that person would have done it a certain way. And one of the things I'm learning is that I have my own unique style. I have my own way of doing things. And when I go against that, it just doesn't feel right. And let me give you an example of this. There's a really, really famous chess player. His name is Josh Waitzkin. And he has a great book. It's called The Art of Learning. And in that book, he talks about how when he was a kid, he had a certain style. It was a little bit more aggressive, and he was winning. And as a matter of fact, he, became like a grandmaster in chess. And the book, Searching for Bobby Fischer, is actually about Josh Waitzkin. But anyways, he was a kid. He was doing really well, beating all the other kids, becoming a grandmaster, and he wanted to get better. And so he started taking chess lessons from other people who were better than him. And interestingly, they were giving him lessons and telling him to change his style. So instead of being the aggressive, creative way, it was more defensive and more looking at the lines of chess and playing, very strategically rather than aggressive with gambits and other crazy ideas that Josh was used to doing. And what he found was after he took those lessons, he actually started getting worse. And why is that? It's because he was not playing his natural style. We all have our own natural style. And some people are not going to like that. And that's okay. But the real key is when you are your true, authentic self, knowing that some people may not like that, that is okay. I would rather have someone not like me and knowing who I truly am and my style versus putting up a false front and having them try to like me. Sometimes with ketamine therapy, we really get to connect with our authentic selves. We get to figure out who are we really? What are we really like? What do I like? What do I dislike? What's my style? And a lot of times with societal programming and conditioning, we forget that. But by connecting to ourselves, really knowing who we are, we can really let our light shine and know that some people aren't going to like that. And that is simply okay because you have your own style. I have my own style. We can all respect each other and our differences, yet we can be who we truly are. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. When people think about ketamine therapy, they often focus on the medicine itself, the molecule, the science, the neuroplasticity. And yes, ketamine therapy is powerful. But what's just as important is who is holding space for you during the journey. Because healing doesn't happen in a vacuum, it happens in relationship. And in ketamine therapy, the relationship between the clinician and patient matters much more than most people realize. When you enter a non ordinary state of consciousness, your heart is much more open. Your defenses are down. You are more sensitive to energy, tone, safety. In that space, the presence of a compassionate, attuned provider makes all the difference. It's not someone who just administers the medication and walks away, but someone who sees you, listens to you, holds space for your process without judgment, without rushing. This kind of therapeutic relationship can be deeply healing in itself, especially if you have experienced trauma, disconnection, or not feeling seen in the medical system before. Because ketamine isn't just about rewiring the brain, it's about reconnecting to trust, to safety, to relationship. So, if you're considering ketamine therapy, don't just ask about dosage or protocols. Ask yourself, do I feel safe with this provider? Do I feel cared for? Do I feel seen? Do they listen to me? Because the medicine is only one part of the equation, and the other part is human connection. And in that connection, real healing begins. One of the things that I love to do during my time off is to play chess. And it's something that I played when I was a kid, but more recently I've gotten into it. And in a way, it's my form of relaxation, as long as it doesn't get too extreme. What I wanted to share with you is an insight that I gained during playing chess. And I realized that whatever piece is out there, let's say it's the king, the pawn, the bishop, the knight, the rook, once the game is completed, they all go back into the same place. Meaning, although when they're playing, they may have a higher status or rank or position compared to a lower position or rank, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Now, how does this relate to ketamine therapy? Well, sometimes we get lost in the nitty gritty details of life. We're worried, we're anxious, we're thinking about how much money can I accumulate or how much power or status, like how can I move up on in the world? But know that our life is finite and that at the end of the day, whether you're the king or whether you're the pawn, we're all going to the same place. We're all walking each other home. With ketamine therapy, what I notice is some people will gain these insights. They will ascend their little limited perspective, get a 10,000, 20,000 foot view, and kind of see the bigger picture. When someone sees the bigger picture, then it's like, click, what's important? What are the priorities? Knowing that I'm here for a finite period of time, what am I going to focus on? How am I going to spend my time? Because at the end of the day, when we're in the grave, none of this really matters. You can accumulate a bunch of toys, you can accumulate a bunch of wealth, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter these material things. What matters, in my opinion, is what impact did I make in the world? How did I treat other people? Will they say he was a good man on the funeral? Those are the things that matter, not the things that we collect. So I hope that brings a little bit of insight into your life and helps shift your perspective to support you on this journey. Take care. Bye.